Yeah.
let's go ahead and start. I threw some rundown. I threw some topics in the chat right there. Let's take a look here. My first topic that me and Nick were talking about, Billings. Niners are not the Seahawks. The Niners have made their statement. They are not the Seahawks, Billings. Pretty impressive win in Duval, humiliating Trevor Lawrence and that Jags team 34-3. What were your takeaways of that game? We'll start with you, Nick.
I mean, if I said it in the when we made our picks, the Niners are finally healthy. I think that was the difference. That's why they lost those 3 straight games. So I think now we saw an actual healthy Niners team. Christian McCaffrey didn't even score a touchdown. They still. I mean,
What do you think we learned about the Jags?
They're a fraud squad. We said it. We said it before.
I think we have to label that.
We
That's
talked
what
about
happens
this
with-
hypothetical scenario that, like, if they lost this game, like, yeah, they're another pretender.
I guess they are in that group of pretenders in that AFC. Unfortunately, your Dolphins are right there with them, and the Bills. That's like
Yeah.
the group right there, right? On the
Yeah.
outside.
Your
looking
Cowboys
in.
are probably in that group as well.
I'd have to say so, man. They're right there.
Even if they had a big beat down of Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, exactly. Because
Well, yeah.
Dolphins didn't get credit for beating the Giants. It was just one of those teams that they beat that were under 500.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I told you guys that was just an Always Sunny episode, ready to happen. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
But back to the Jags, man. Dude, I don't know. I don't know if I want to throw that away as like every team has a bad loss, or the Niners were just ready after 3 losses. That just looked bad. Just looked bad, man. I
Bad
don't
loss.
know.
They couldn't score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't score against the Chiefs either. So I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
what's
Calvin
going on with
Ridley
that
was completely absent from the game. It's like Trevor Lawrence didn't really look his way that much. Or
Niners pass
if they
rush.
did, the Niners pass rush.
Like, don't get me wrong, like the Jags have more hope than a lot of other teams in the league. Like,
Yeah.
you're still trending upward, like things are looking good. Like Trevor Lawrence has minimized his mistakes. He actually looks like he's gonna be your franchise QB rolling forward. So like there's still good things. It's just it looks like this not your year.
Definitely not yet. Speaking of not your year, what do we have to think about this Ravens team, man? I thought that game was over. 14-0. I was like, this is over.
You
They're not gonna
texted us
blow
early
this.
in that game. You're like, this game's already over.
Dude, it's 14-0.
It
That
was.
defense. What happened, man? How did this happen, dude? I don't know. Lamar throwing those interceptions in the fourth quarter was basically, there goes my MVP. There it goes. Look at it go, man.
You guys are really quick to put someone high on the pedestal and then just throw them under the bus. It's very next week.
That's the
Dude,
NFL. That's the NFL. That's not
I
us.
mean, we've done it with this Jags team. We're doing it with Lamar now.
Dude, that's 3 straight losses. They've
I mean,
had
I know
leads
my
in the
Dolphins
fourth
have gone
quarter.
through it, so
No,
Yeah, man.
no, you both got on my ass when I was like, we need to stop just writing off the Chiefs as like this dominant force in the NFL, and all of you were like, no, what about the Bengals? What about the Jags? Like,
I never brought up the Bengals or the Jags. I'm pretty sure that was brought up, and I just agreed to it.
yeah, well,
It's tough, man. I don't know, man.
We keep trying to find like the next big thing that we can cling on to, and it's our fault as fans, and I guess as media.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it. Sometimes it is what it is.
So the next big thing is not CJ Stroud?
It is this week, or at least the first 10 weeks of the year.
Man, was I wrong about that game? Oh,
Yeah, he's looked phenomenal.
that
Doing
just
it
shows
again
you how,
this week.
yeah, but that just shows you how weird the NFL is. Is that we're talking about Josh Dobbs and C.J. Stroud today, as if it was like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning.
The new era is here, man. I cannot believe that Texans team. I thought they lost that game when they blew it, and Joe Burrow came back, and I was like, oh, okay. You're not ready. You don't know. And then they came back and won again. So, CJ Stroud, man, I was telling you, Nick, it's got to be in that MVP conversation now. Like, that Texans team isn't good. Besides,
I mean,
They
I'm
are,
not sure if
actually.
he's. Yeah,
They
they are.
are?
They are good. I mean, I don't think they have that great of a receiving staff, so that does hype up the CJ Stroud MVP talk a little bit more. But I don't think he's there yet. They just got over the 500 mark. They're 5-4. If they're pretty close to the Jags right now with the Jags loss. If they can catch the Jags and then somehow overtake the Jags and still be leading that division toward the end of the year, then I think he could, if he's still putting up the same numbers as he is now, I think that could move him into the MVP talk. But he's definitely got to have Offensive Rookie of the Year locked down by now, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he's separated himself.
And I'd say D'Amico Ryan's like he's your leading candidate for Coach of the Year as well. So
Yeah.
like they're a good team. Like you have QB that's in contention as of today for MVP. You have a coach in contention for Coach of the Year as it stands right now. You're fighting for a division. When you have a new coach, new QB, like we got to start giving the Texans some credit.
They're really going to be in that playoff mix towards the end. It's really going to be them, the Jets, and the Browns getting those spots. And
Yeah, fighting for
Probably
that
the-
7 seed.
yeah,
For me, it's just think how close we are to Thanksgiving, and they're playing that kind of football against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Like, yeah, that's where you need to be at this moment in time.
Yeah.
Like, think of them in comparison to the Jags today.
That's true.
Yeah, and Joe Burrow and the Bengals are in last in the division now, which is
Wow.
crazy. Yes. They have the same record as the
Ah.
Texans, but they're in last in that division now, which is, like I
Wow.
said, it's insane. But yeah, man, that
Joked with you guys of just like Steelers could potentially win the AFC door. And
Yeah, because
that's-
they're
they're 6-3 and they haven't
they're-
led like any like offensive statistic in any
Yeah.
of their games.
they've been out yardaged or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
how can how that cannot last? Like that cannot last. This crap
I mean, with
can't
that
last.
defense, I guess if they're getting the ball on the plus side of the field, they don't have to go as many yards to get some of these scores. Like, if they get the ball, like, say, at the 50-yard line, they got to go maybe 15, 20 yards to kick a field goal. And their games, they're not, like, blowing
Yeah.
teams away. Like, they're not high-scoring games. All their games are in the 20s at the most.
That's
right?
true. They win so ugly.
Yeah.
And
With Chris's favorite player, TJ Watt, that helps them.
Dude, sound the alarms in Green Bay. Sound the alarms in Green Bay. Like there so many things are wrong there. Like it's beyond Jordan Love. Like they are so bad. They're like
He's not
like
good
everything.
though.
Yes, he is not good. You're correct. He is not good. Jordan Love's not good. The
I will
coach is
fucking
not good.
continue to pound on this point. I said they weren't good with Aaron Rodgers. Why would they be good with Jordan Love?
It's true.
And look at them this year.
They were
So
they were supposed to be in
Yep.
contention for that number 1 pick.
I hate to give credit to Aaron Rodgers, but fuck, like no, he was surrounded by a pretty shit team last year.
Yeah, man. I don't know why they got rid of Devontae Adams, but yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
we should be should be asking Devonte Adams that of like, what the fuck were you thinking?
I want to go hang out with my friend Derek Carr in Las Vegas. Catch touchdowns. We're gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, grass is always greener on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of grass is always greener, Lions went into that game against the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Told Nick I didn't watch enough of that game to where I thought I could be like, oh, the Chargers blew it. Like just seemed like the Lions were just like better, and they just converted on more fourth downs. Like I don't know.
So the
I mean, the
Lions
game
are
wasn't
a
really.
better team.
They are. And
Yeah.
it's not like the game was really out of reach at any point. Like the Lions, I think they got up by 2 scores maybe a couple times, but it did remind me of the opening week game when the Dolphins played the Chargers, where it was just like within 1 score and it went late, and then Justin Herbert couldn't get it done. In which, in this case, he did have an early interception, but Jared Goff and Dan Campbell went for it on fourth down a lot, and they ended up picking a fourth down late and just ran out the time.
That's my question on this game. Is this a big win for the Lions? Chris.
It was honestly, it was a win they should have had. Like this is one of those games that proves that they're a contender this year. Like they've gone into Kansas City, they've gone into Los Angeles and won these games. And those
Okay,
games-
so you're saying yes, that this is a big game because this game proves that they're a contender.
I kind of felt like they were before this, and like I expected them to win this game because the Chargers are just they're organized chaos.
It's fair. Nick?
I mean, I think it's a good win for them. Road environment, but not really because, like we talked about before, it was mainly going to be Lions fans there because all teams travel well whenever they're playing either one of the Los Angeles teams in that SoFi Stadium. So there were on a couple times on third down that you can really hear the crowd going, and I think it may have distracted Justin Herbert a little bit late. But yeah, I do think it was a big win for them.
When are we going to
Because
talk
you're
about
supposed to
Justin
beat the teams you're
Herbert?
supposed to beat.
Oh,
What do you want
sorry.
to say about Justin Herbert?
I was
Billy?
gonna say, when are we gonna talk about Justin Herbert the way we talk about like Dak or Tua or some of these other QBs that we just constantly are just like nitpicking at, and then like he doesn't seem to get that criticism.
Brandon Staley, man.
Like at a certain point, he's gonna get fired, and then the focus is gonna turn to Justin Herbert and his new coach, and I don't understand why he's free from the criticism.
Because Tony Romo loves him. If
I
you
think-
heard him call in that game, like
Yes, I
he
did,
loves
unfortunately.
he loves Justin Herbert and Josh Allen so much. Like they can do no wrong. And that's why they don't get the criticism, because you hear how the games are called for certain quarterbacks, and the media just follows that because it starts with the commentators with the narrative.
To put it bluntly, I think the media babies him.
Mm-hmm.
I think they still treat him like he's this like fresh out of college quarterback of like, oh, give him time. Needs to find the right coach. And it's like, you didn't do that for Tua. Like you didn't do that for Dak. You didn't do that.
They
for
did. They
Well,
did. They
Justin
did all
Herbert
of
gets it
them.
because he's got the prototypical size and he's got the big arm. That's why he gets that babying, because he should do good. So when he's not doing good, it's someone else's fault.
Dak got
It
some
is.
leash because he didn't turn over the ball and he was a 6th-round pick.
But no, like they did all that stuff. They did all that stuff. This all, I don't know what's happening. This is like some revisionist history. Like so many people in Florida and Miami talked bad about Brian Flores when he was there with Tua. Who do you want to revise to talking about Jason Garrett when he was there with Dak Prescott? I mean, everyone talked bad about those coaches, and that was pretty much everyone knew that those coaches were holding those quarterbacks back. And then once they got coaches that were more offensively friendly, they were able to succeed. And that's pretty much what the situation is in with the Chargers.
The difference is, though, so if Justin Herbert gets a good quarterback and he starts playing well, his first 4 years will be completely thrown out about his record. It'll be from then on. Whereas in case with Tua, I believe that these last 2 years under Mike McDaniel, yeah, they're good and everything, but it's still his first 2 years under Brian Flores, and what he did is still used against him, even though it's completely different. I think then, and that goes to what Chris is saying, that he's babied. Like his first 4 years would just be nothing if he got a new coach.
Crushed Josh Allen was in his first few years.
Mm-hmm.
That was the same thing. They had to get a new coach there, and they had to bring.
But
Brian
Josh Allen
Dable
had
in
no
there.
weapons either. It wasn't until he got Stephon Diggs and the new coaching.
The same thing with Tua, and he got Tyreek Hill. Same
Yeah,
thing
but
with
Justin
Dak when
Herbert
he
has
got
had the
Amari
weapons.
Cooper.
He has all the weapons he would ever need, and he's got a good defense.
I don't know.
But he's
I don't
still
know.
under
He's had some
500 in his
amazing
career.
receivers, amazing running backs, amazing defense.
I don't know if they would be on that quality that these other levels are. These other teams think they're good. They're not on the quality of these other teams, and they just. I don't know. They just hasn't been as set up for success as these other teams, and that's why. That's why Brandon Staley is getting all this heat. Like everyone
He's
can
not.
see it.
He really hasn't though this season. Like I feel like he hasn't gotten that criticism that he probably got last year. It was noisier this year. It's been weirdly just quiet about Brandon Staley. It's like everybody knows like incompetence is there, but it's just like Chargers gonna charge, haha.
I guess so. I don't know what you would say the expectations are for that team, and so maybe that's
The
why
same
Justin
as
Herbert-
every goddamn team in the NFL. If
I
they
don't
had
think
the
so.
Chargers record right now, like if the Lions had the Chargers record, if the Dolphins had the Chargers record, if the Cowboys had the Chargers record, they'd be fucking roasted on Get Up and First Take on the morning.
I don't think that many people see the Chargers as viable Super Bowl contenders. Like
What?
throughout the season.
Like, oh, this is like talk about revisionist history.
They blew a 27-point lead to the Jags. They were borderline playoff teams for everyone before the season. What's their record right now?
It's a losing
Yeah,
record
they're
now.
4-5 right now.
So where are these expectations that they're a Super Bowl contender when they're like a struggling team to get into the playoffs? It's like
The last 2 years, it very much has been like, oh, like the Chargers are a team that could get to the Super Bowl. Chargers are a team that could win that division over Mahomes.
But I don't think anybody thought that this season. I think after they didn't make any changes,
A lot of people still were like, Chargers are one of the best teams on paper in the AFC.
I don't know, man. I don't remember that at the beginning of the season. I don't think that they had as much expectations as these.
You're
other
babying
teams.
him too. You're doing it right now. You're babying Justin Herbert. Why?
Like,
why
what-
does this team need to be babied?
What
Like
expectations?
they're not the
were
Raiders.
there?
They're not the Broncos. Like they're
I
not the
don't-
Titans. Like
I don't know what you're like. How are you being critical of them? They are not a Super Bowl contender. I don't understand why.
dude,
like,
we know that now, yes, but
we knew that before the season started.
it's just I don't understand why people don't come with the same fire for them as they do countless other teams in the NFL. Like I said, including like the Detroit Lions for some reason, where if they had this record, everybody would be kicking them down on the ground, being like, "Oh, Detroit Lions doing what Detroit does." Like they thought they were a big boy and could fight for a Super Bowl. Dan Campbell's gonna get fired. Where is that for the Chargers?
I think that everybody had that already, and then they didn't fire him after he blew
Well,
the lead
yeah,
to the
because
Jags.
they got off to the slow start and they came back to 500, so that's
'Cause
why
they
it cooled
realized
off.
that Sean Payton didn't want to go there is really what it came down to.
Yeah, and they hired like Kellen Moore as soon as the Cowboys let him go, and they were like, "Yeah, like this is what we're gonna move forward with." So I mean, I don't know. Like I don't think that the expectation level is just like where you're seeing it for the Chargers or Justin Herbert or anything. I don't know. That's why I don't think he's getting that critique that he should be getting in your eyes.
Baby.
Baby. all right. I mean, all right. I guess so. I mean, so let's talk about someone that's gotten baby. Let's talk about Kyler Murray and the Cardinals here.
He won his game.
He did. There were a few moments I saw watching Red Zone that he looked like the Kyler of old. Like there was one play that ended up being a 13-yard run, and he must have ran like 100 yards just dodging people and then all around, and then it looked like the Kyler Murray we're used to. It was actually fun to watch that game a little bit.
It was. And Arthur Smith got beat 2 weeks in a row by QBs that didn't play the fucking week before.
Not looking good, Arthur Smith. I saw Heineke went down in that game.
Yep.
Falcons, man. God,
Brought
the Falcons.
Desmond Ritter back in, tried for the comeback.
What are the Cardinals doing? Are they just trying to showcase Kyler Murray, or are they going to move forward with him?
They're showcasing him.
You think
Yeah.
so?
Yes.
I mean,
Who's gonna-
regardless what he does, I think they still have a top 10 pick. Like, he can come out here and win a few games. Like, next week they go up against Houston Texans and CJ Stroud, I think. So that should be a fun game to watch with the quarterbacks.
That's going to be spicy.
But start building, like, you can't build around Kyler Murray, especially at this point. Like, yes,
What?
2 years, like 2 years ago, you could have said that. But no, I don't think it's feasible to just like build a team around. Like, you're in a semi-rebuild as it is right now if you're the Cardinals, and
Yeah.
so why build around Kyler Murray? Why build around that expensive contract? Like, it's not like he's some just like veteran presence in the locker room where you can be like, okay, I understand why we're leaving him around. No, like, you gotta move past that.
He's proven. He's like a proven quarterback in the league. And what is your alternative?
They gotta find something in the draft.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Winning games isn't going to help that, though.
Okay.
That
let's
actually go
unpack
against the formula trying to showcase. Because if he actually does come out here and win some games, it worsens their draft stock.
Not if you can potentially get a first for him. Like,
True.
I'm not saying they would, but if they did,
What, send him to Chicago? Get one of those first?
like, it's just like there's always draft day shenanigans that they could potentially play to move up and whatnot. Like, they're still a bad enough team that, like, they're not middle of the pack. No, they're gonna be in that top third, possibly top 10. Let's be honest, they're gonna be top 10. So yeah, like, showcase Kyler, trade him at the end of the season, get some more picks, depending on your position, move up, get one of these, I'd say like 3 or 4 QBs that are going to be available.
I don't know, man. I feel like the way that you're thinking is the way NFL teams think, and it's ass backwards, and it never works. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You're basically looking at the Family Guy scenario where, hey, man, you're going to get this boat, but what's in the box? What's in the box? Has Kyler Murray been a proven winner in the NFL? Yes. Have you made the playoffs with him? Yes. You with Cliff Kingsbury as your head coach. Seems like it would be easier to find another head coach and then like trade those picks and build around Kyler Murray than to try and do it the other way
The
around.
difference
And you're
being
like,
is like, yes, I know about that boat, but I also know, like, I'm gonna have to pay an insane amount of taxes on said boat as
Sure.
well.
versus a mystery pick versus a mystery pick versus Zach
So it's like,
Wilson.
okay, like, boat over here, like this big boat, but you have to pay these taxes on it. Potentially in the box is like a vacation to Europe for your family.
Yeah, and it's an inflatable raft that you don't know how to blow up, Billings. Good luck making it work. Good luck. Good luck getting to
You're
Europe.
saying one of
it
those. You're
couldn't-
saying one of those 3 or 4 top QBs in the draft is just gonna turn into an inflatable raft in this scenario. Like, no, at the very least, like, you're getting a gift card to Outback Steakhouse for like $150, and you know what? I'm satisfied with an Outback gift card for $150, man. Like,
Yes. Let me trade Kyler Murray and use these assets to build a situation and a team that was basically the same that we had with Kyler
trade
Murray.
Kyler Murray for that Outback Steakhouse gift card right now.
All right. What are your thoughts on this, Nick? Do you think the Cardinals should trade Kyler Murray here, tiebreak us, me and Bill?
I mean, I'm going back and forth. I'm listening to both of your arguments on this, and I can really go either way because I could see Kyler going to somewhere like New England or one of those other teams that may need a quarterback. Because we were originally talking about the Vikings, but I think they got their Cardinals quarterback now in Josh Dobbs. But at the same time, they could keep him and just try. How much longer does he have left on his contract? This could be he just signed a new
Bunch.
one, right?
Yeah, like 3 years at least.
3 years. Yeah. I think he stays. I think
Okay.
they end up. I think they keep him there and then use this season to build toward next year. See what pieces they're going to keep, and then they're probably still going to have a high draft pick. So I think, yeah, I think he stays.
All right. For now, Kyler Murray staying on the Cardinals. I guess that's a takeaway here. The Week 10 recap. I got nothing else for you guys. Oh my god. Jets and Raiders is the
Yes.
game tonight.
Yeah.
It's a test, football test. Make sure you
Yeah.
guys really like football, or just go get some stuff done around the house, or you go find something else to watch. I saw you guys follow the House of Usher, huh?
Yes.
That's the watch now. That's the Netflix
Yep.
Big
watch
Brother's over,
recommendation.
man. Had to move on to something else.
Yep.
All right. For the Sports Buds, I'm Tony Parlay. That's Chris Billings. That's Nicopedia. This is your Week 10 post game.
Thanks for watching the Sports Buds. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe.